In this video, we're going to be taking a look at all the dividends I received in the month of April 2023, and we'll also look at some changes in the portfolio that happened in the past month, such as the deposits and buys that I made. And then we'll also look at how my portfolio performed in the month of April compared to the overall market and how it's been performing over the past year as well, and talk about some things I am thinking about moving forward over the next few months with my dividend portfolio. So right now we're looking at my dividend portfolio spreadsheet, and the first thing we'll do is we'll take a look at the dividend increases that we got in the month of April. So we actually got 4, which is pretty exciting. So the first one here is from Travelers. So that was about a 7.5% dividend raise, which is super exciting, which brings the annual dividend to $4 per share. And then the next one here was from Procter & Gamble, only about a 3% raise, but that's certainly fine. It brings the annual dividend to $3.76. The next one was from the Southern Company, which was about 3%, which is pretty much in line with what I would expect from them. That brings their annual dividend to $2.80. And then the final one here is from Johnson & Johnson, and that was about 5.3%, which was really exciting, and that brings the annual dividend to $4.76. And looking at some overall metrics, the overall portfolio value before importing any transactions from April is $4,394, and the annual projected dividend income is $114.53. And we can actually look in this tab over here to see how much of an effect the dividend raises actually had. So if we look here, the projected dividend income before any of the raises from April was $113.33, and then now the dividend income is projected at $114.53. So we got about $1.20 of an increase in projected dividend income just from our companies raising the dividends. So that's really exciting for me. So now we're looking at all the transactions filtered out from April 1st to the 30th on Fidelity, and we'll just go ahead and download these transactions, and then we can import them into our dividend spreadsheet and actually look at what we did this month. So we can go over here to our spreadsheet now and import that CSV file, and we can just upload it here, and basically it's just going to parse all the transactions and put them into the appropriate spots, and then it'll update all the information in the spreadsheet appropriately, and we will be able to see exactly what happened and what progress we made this month. So we have the transactions here, and we can just run this script that I created, which is available for free as well to anyone that wants to use it or get some inspiration. And then after a few minutes, we'll get some summary information and be able to see exactly what happened. So the script finished running now, and we can see we deposited $200 this month. We made buys worth only $20, which I'll explain a little bit more. We didn't make any sells, and then we received dividends of $7.17. So if we look here in the transactions tab, we basically only bought $20 worth of AbbVie this month. That's all we did. And then we have this $200 cash deposit. And honestly, I just really didn't see all that many good opportunities this month. And I'll talk a little bit more towards the end of the video, but I do want to continue buying dividend stocks over time, and even if maybe prices aren't at the best levels, I will continue buying to some degree. And also now looking at the dividend payments, like I said, $7.17, and we can scroll down here, and starting in April we got about 76 cents from Coca-Cola, $3.40 from Leggett & Platt, $1.30 from Cisco, and then $1.71 of interest in our account. And that's exciting to see that interest, but that also means that the cash is starting to pile up some, which I would like to deploy rather than receive the interest from that. And we also received some dividends from JP Morgan that technically count for April, but we didn't receive them until the beginning of May, so we won't count that until May. So we can see here this dividend chart from April of 2023 is a little bit lower than the last time these companies paid us, which was in January of 2023, and that's largely because of the JP Morgan dividends. But that's perfectly fine. That just means May will be all that much bigger than February, and that's perfectly fine. This is the start of the second quarter. So the second quarter here, only $7.17. And then on the year so far in 2023, about $35.66, almost as much as we received in the full year of 2021. I'm sure we'll surpass 2021 at the end of May this month. So another interesting thing we can look at is this ticker changes tab, which just shows each of the companies and how much the stock went up or down in the month of April, which was this past month. So we're going to sort it from April 1st to the 30th, and I actually had to adjust the dates a little bit just so they aligned more with the market. But this is the end price, the starting date is the price, at the end of March, and then the end date is the price at the end of April. So it should still be correct. And we can sort it by the performance basically and see some interesting data here. So the worst performing company this month was Cisco, down about 9.6%. Then Carrier Global and AT&T were down a little bit over 8%. And then the best performers were Microsoft, JP Morgan, and Aflac. JP Morgan up about 6%, Microsoft up 6.5%, and Aflac up 8.2%. And this Microsoft one I think is pretty interesting because Microsoft was already pretty highly priced, I would say, at the beginning of April, but it just kept going up. And interestingly enough, we had, about I think 11 or 12 companies here that were positive for the month, and then that's about 8 companies that were negative for the month. So overall, more positive than negative, I think. And just looking at the portfolio value over time, it's just an exciting graph to look at, well on our way to $5,000 now. The 5-year CAGR data has had some issues. For some reason, the dividend data I was getting going back a few years isn't adjusted for splits, at least for Apple. So some of the Apple dividends from a few years ago are much smaller, so it looks like they cut the dividend. So that's kind of affecting the dividend CAGR data. I'm going to have to try to look into that a little bit and figure out how to, adjust for that and adjust for splits. I didn't think it was a problem because I think I was still looking at, pre-split data before and it wasn't a problem then, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more and figure that out. And then the dividend income over time is exciting as well, just continues going up, nearing $125. And coming back to the summary sheet, the portfolio value is now above $4,600 and dividend income at $115.32. So it really barely went up, but that's because we made just a very small purchase this month, and hopefully we'll be able to continue making more purchases in the coming months. Basically, I haven't really been working all that much, so I've been trying to, conserve the cash that I do have since I am in school this semester. Just trying to conserve some of the cash and, wait for better opportunities and try to, deploy that cash only in companies that I think are undervalued or at a fair price right now. And I'm just not seeing as many at this point. But over the summer, I'll be working, full time at an internship. So I'll be earning a fair bit of money, at least in terms of my standards, I guess, for me at this point in my life. So I think at that point, I'll be able to, deploy a bit more money into the portfolio and not be quite as concerned, with the valuations per se, and not be as picky, because at that point I'll have just a lot more cash in general and would want to rather get it invested, even if it's not at the absolute best price, rather than just having it sit around in my savings account. So now we are looking at the performance as shown in Fidelity for my dividend portfolio. So that's this line item right here. So in the past month, the portfolio returned 1.61%, and that was actually a tiny bit higher than the S&P 500 and Dow Jones. So that's pretty exciting to see that we beat the market, even if it's just a little bit and even on just a short term, because if you've watched the past few months, we have been lagging the market just a bit the past few months, and you can see that as displayed here. Over the past 3 months, we're up 1.1% compared to the market of 2.7, and then year to date we are up about 2.8% compared to the market's 9.2%. But when we go back a year, our portfolio is definitely outperforming a little bit. We're up about 10.8% in the past year compared to the market's about 1 to 3%, depending on whether you look at the Dow or S&P 500. So I'm definitely really excited to see how the portfolio shakes out when we get this 3-year data. So I should be getting that in October, the end of October. So about 6 months from now, I think 9 months from now, we'll get some 3-year data that we'll be able to look at, and then really better compare our portfolio performance to the market averages over a little bit of a longer period of time that is a bit more meaningful. So like I said, over the next few months, as I begin working my internship, I will be starting, towards the end of May. So at that point, I'm going to try to start deploying more capital towards the portfolio and just investing more, even if I'm not able to get the absolute best prices. And at that point in time, I'll still have plenty of cash sitting around so that if we do have some sort of crash or a general downturn, I'll still have the cash available to take advantage of those opportunities and really buy more at that point in order to average down on those positions. But there's certainly some stocks I just want to add more to over time, even if I'm not getting the absolute best price. And I just want to own more of these great companies. So let me know how you guys' portfolios performed in the month of April, and I would love to hear how much you received in dividends. As always, thanks for watching to the end of the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.